Hello and welcome back to Starfish Point. My name is Nebman, I'm the founder of Nebman Industries, and I've got an unlimited budget to build the city of my dreams. This is episode 22 of the series where we're building on my custom map, building essentially whatever we want to build. The eagle-eyed viewers that watched the last video might notice something different in this cinematic, and I will explain that shortly in a minute. But we're just going to take through and have a little look at what we built in the last episode. So as we move over onto the left here, you'll notice this lovely looking car park with the train line and road. That's been slightly detailed a little bit more. It's kind of a tourist attraction where you come and observe the beautiful sights of the water, the mountains, and obviously the waterfalls, which is probably the key attraction. So yeah, that's really nice and detailed. I like the textures that we've placed on some of the surfaces, so it's not all just the same sort of thing. We've got some mud down there, some cracks on the concrete, car parks, grassy areas, all sorts of really nice things. And then we branch out up towards the waterfall, and I just love this. This was worth all of the hard work. It was a nightmare to build. It was really hard, but we've done it, and I think it looks fantastic. If we just look a little bit over the top, you might just catch a glimpse of our man statue at the top, and it will look pretty cool. Yeah, really happy with this. I love the way it's turned out. And there he is, we can just about see his legs coming up. Wow, what a guy, fantastic, beautiful. So yeah, in the last video we built out and decorated the waterfall. Like in the cinematic, you'll notice we've got this statue right at the top. Those who didn't watch the last video, we've also got a mini Stonehenge at the top of our mountain, which looks out all the way over our city over there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we decorated kind of all of this section here. It gives like Yosemite, Canada sort of vibes, this kind of mountainous, beautiful terrain with these roads and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with that. We had this random area over there, as you can see, with the castle ruins. We weren't really sure what to do with it, to be honest, but so we just put some castle ruins. And to be honest with you, I actually think it's fine. I don't think it's too bad, to be honest. So I've added a little road in this section here between the river and that kind of lake's ruins, and just added a few houses in just to kind of blend this area sort of in and make it feel a little bit less empty. I didn't think I needed to show that. I just cracked on and did it while I was waking up. So yeah, I think that looks a little bit better now that we have that. I'm unsure on whether we're going to fill this little section here with houses as well, or whether we're just going to kind of make it, maybe turn it into some fields, or just leave it open. But the main thing for this video is we need to sort this section out. This green empty section here, we need to fill it in, because we've been going on about it for ages and we just never get round to it because everything else takes so long. So that is the main plan or goal of today, filling out here. So I spent a bit of time in the last video thinking about what we could put here, and to be honest, going into this video I was undecided still. But what I've kind of got an idea for is there are some really nice apartments with one of the US themed packs, which would potentially fit quite nicely into here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flatten out just a little bit. We'll sort out the terrain afterwards. But if we just flatten that out slightly, just to about here, we can look at either. We've got these ones. What are these ones? These look really nice. So we got one, they're kind of like hotel sort of things, and we could add these to either this section. We could have a little road come out and have them over here. We could technically turn them and face them this way. We'd have to probably upgrade the road. But there's this one that has parking kind of like a basketball court, and then there's this one which is just pure houses. So I'm kind of unsure on which one to go for. I might just place this one down here initially, just like, oh, I just want to get it quite right. There we go. I think that looks quite cool. And the people that are visiting here can come and stay over here. It just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But this will obviously need some sort of road access. Now I'm in two minds of whether we just bring this across or if we create a little road access over here or something similar. Not entirely certain yet. I just want to see how big would a second one be, because we could technically wrap another one around that sort of way, or even if we just had it at a proper angle like that, we could technically do this. Okay, interesting. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to pick where I want a road to come out, and it's just going to be there. That's a bit of a weird sort of junction, but I actually don't mind it. It does look a little bit weird. Do I want that? I might try and adjust it slightly. We'll grab that, actually do it properly, and then now that we've done it properly, it looks exactly the same. So yeah, worth our time. And then I'm going to pick this road. I'll bring that across like that. I'm just going to link it up here for the time being. It's probably not going to remain linked up. And then let's just have a look at the layout that we've got here. There is a bit of adjusting that we'll probably need to do, but nothing too crazy. Let's have a look at this other side, because we kind of want to potentially look at whacking that. Oh, do we want to? Not sure if we actually want to, because I mean that's got a kids park in it. It looks a bit like a bit grim, doesn't it? A bit of a grim place to come and stop off and stay, especially with all these bins and stuff. Maybe we don't want them both. What is going on here? I've just looked in and this has got to be the biggest game of basketball I've ever seen in my entire life. What is going on? There's even dogs playing. I was not expecting to see that, to be honest with you. Not at all. It seems like this is going to be quite a popular place. So I think I've decided that I'm going to probably leave these two like this, and then I'm going to try and sort out some sort of decorating around here to kind of make it look a little bit nice, because it does feel a little bit empty, a little bit grim at the moment, to be honest. So I'm just trying to make this rather unique. I've placed this mausoleum here for whatever reason to kind of make some sort of park feature landmark area over here, which we'll decorate. What is up with all of these people? What are you doing? There's so many of you just stood in the basketball court. I don't really understand what's going on there. And then I've just added a little kind of restaurant here for people to eat at when they are staying in our very luxury places. Oh my gosh, what the heck has gone on with this game? There's so many people here. Actually crazy. I might have to upgrade this road to something more appropriate as well, because we currently have pedestrians walking up the highway, which we don't really want to happen, to be honest with you. So we might just have to just grab those bits and just turn that into somewhat of a more presentable actual road. Otherwise there are going to be a few problems here and there. Okay, get rid of those. Don't need that zebra crossing there. Just need one there. Definitely don't need that there. Good. Okay. That road looks a little bit better. People are obviously going to park on it, so we're going to... There's some beautiful, beautiful trees down the edge, because that is good for us. There we go. Right, let's decorate this little park section, and then let's work on trying to figure out what we're going to do over here, because we need this to look nicer. First things first, I think hedges make sense, so let's draw a few hedges along this pathway. If it doesn't click or snap into where we don't want it to snap. Good, just kind of beautify this just a little bit, just to make it look like something that you would potentially want to visit, or just, yeah, I don't really know. But you know when you go to those places when you're on holiday and there's like a feature that everybody's there and just taking pictures of, and you don't really know why, but it looks a little bit unique. That's kind of like what this is. Everyone will be like, oh my gosh, did you see the mausoleum of White Sands waterfall? And they'll be like, yeah, I took a picture, and then nobody will ever know what it means or why it was built. That's what kind of what this is. Yeah, why not? Why not? Do we want hedges here? I feel like we don't. Maybe we do. I quite like that actually. That actually looks quite nice. Quite nice indeed. Maybe we won't even put trees in there. I think it looks nice as it is. With this double pathway in the back pathway thing, we might actually just connect up these two paths, just give them a little connection into each other, which actually doesn't do anything. And then we're just gonna either put a few plants down the middle. I think that would make sense if we just put a few of these down. Like this, bring them together. And yeah, if we just put some of those down, maybe a little bit more spaced out. A little bit more. And we just do something like this. That's fine. And then maybe a couple of trees to just break up. It's quite a thick tree, isn't it? They're all really thick trees. Maybe we need baby trees. Oh no, I've lost all my coloured trees. There we go. And we just put a few cute looking pink trees along this pathway. Like so. Good. Let's have a look at you. That's a nice little pathway. That's looking all good in the hood. Nice, we're happy with that. We need to probably put some trees around this section here as well, and then figure out what we're going to do here. This is probably going to end up being a little car park section, tiny car park. Maybe would be nice if we could get something a little bit longer slotted in the back there, but I think we're just out of room. Yeah, I think we're going to be just out of room. I don't think we're going to be able to sneak that in even if we wanted to. Yeah, I think we're struggling with that. We can fit in obviously a nice small car park here. That would be absolutely fine. Fit in there without a problem. I might just put it in there. Just like that. Just a little bit of parking, no dramas. Need to figure out what's going on here, because this road is going to lower, and I have a building that's going to go here. So yeah, we need to plan how we're going to gently merge this in. It could even be a case of a few boulders down this section or similar. Not sure yet, but we need to connect some sort of connection up here to some pathways, so that's what we're going to do next. Okay, this is coming together a little bit nicely now. Looks more full out and actually looks like somewhere that you would come and, well, spend your maybe an overnight stay. So you'd drive in, you'd come off the highway that's come in from over there, depending on where you're coming from. You'd drop into this lovely high quality motel. You'd spend the night here, you'd go out and go walking up the mountains, go see the Mr. Geezer up at the top here, and then you'd walk all the way back, have some nice food at the restaurant in here, have a sleep, and then drive off And if you do have some spare time, you can go and stand with the rest of the entire population within the basketball court. So yeah, it's looking quite cool. I went for a few boulders just around the back here to kind of blend in the terrain shift slightly, and I don't think it looks too bad, to be honest. Not too bad. Yes, so what we want to do now is fill in the rest of the space over here, so around this section. This is actually one way because of various reasons to do with this. I could road builder it, but it was just didn't have the time, so I just put a nice one-way street along there. So we need to connect that up. We need to obviously fill in this gap, but in this gap here, what I wanted to do, because I've been wanting to use this Shard Arena for a while, and obviously there's loads of big open spaces here, but it's all a bit too cramped in now that you actually get to it. But I think maybe if I whacked it at an angle around here, this could potentially be a spot for it. We just draw it back as far as we can. Maybe line it with our path to the left, like so, and just drop that back a little bit more. Maybe about here, possibly. Possibly is the correct way to say it. Let's just take a look. We'll start filling in a bit of space and see how we get on. It might be the case that it looks actually alright once it's blended in, or it might be the case that it's just completely hideous and that we don't want it. But if we just start messing around with it a little bit, we might be able to get a better sort of idea of whether we're going to want that there. But coming down the hill, I think that's quite a cool little view, having that arena right there. It might be worth us pulling out these rocks a little bit more and just kind of closing the gap here in with a few more rocks, boulders, whatever you want to call them. Just like that, just fill in this gap here so it kind of looks like it's meant to be there, instead of having 3 lines of boulders and then just empty green space. Yeah, I think that looks better blended in, to be honest with you. And then just a couple of trees just dropped into this little gap here. Maybe even one there. What we're doing over here, probably a line of trees as well, to be fair. Got a slight little bit of space between the two. Let's just box that bad boy off. Fantastic. We're obviously going to have this rather bizarre bit of space behind here. That's not going to be a major issue because we can somewhat we can somewhat close it off with some footpaths and then just have it as like a park, forestry, walkway sort of area. I don't see why we couldn't do that. Same with just down this end here, just connecting that up via the footpaths that we already have. It just makes sense to just link it up like that. How much space do we have here? We have a little bit. I'm just deciding whether we just move it a little bit, just so that we are not too encroached onto that path. How much more room do we have? I think we're probably getting to about it. I mean, you can still walk around it, to be fair. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just ignore the problem and we won't have a problem, of course. So I'm going a bit rogue here, trying to decorate this kind of back area into some sort of open space field-ish sort of area. I've also added a few different textures, so different type of grass decals below here, and then same with a few bits of wear and tear at the back of the car park over there, and it's actually being used already. And then added a stream that goes through here, which is actually just the net lane decal sort of thing. It's not actual water, as you can see. So I just want to add a couple of small paths within this little area that we've got going on. Nothing crazy at all, literally just a few little walkable sections within here. I might even just turn all of the snapping off and just curve around a few little bits of path around here, just so that people can enjoy the scenery and the streams and all that fantastic stuff that we've got to offer in this city. Go there. That's probably fine. We could probably... That's just brilliant, isn't it? Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is going to be quite heavily treed up, so we're not going to worry too much about some of the finer details. Otherwise, we're, like everything, we'll just be here forever. I need to really work on being efficient with my time and not spending it trying to adjust the slightest little things that we'll actually never notice or see again. So, yes. Draw that across here. That one can link there. Fantastic. A few little pathways just within that section there. We've obviously put the riverbed texture down as well. And then we just kind of want to fill it in with a few trees here and there. Dependent on what trees we want, we can probably just go for these ones. I might take off Anarchy initially and just see how dense it becomes. I feel like we're probably going to have to dense it up a bit. And I think it's actually planting some trees on the actual stream that we've placed down as well, which is not the most ideal thing in the world. But it is what it is. I do like that stream, to be honest. It looks quite cool. Right, I don't think we're actually achieving anything at the moment. So I'll place some trees manually around, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully it will be all good in the hood very shortly. And there we have it. Doesn't that look nice and pretty? Especially with that little water feature within the middle. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks quite nice. Nice bit of area. Space usage filling in the gaps kind of thing. Yeah, I'm happy with that, and we've got people walking and using it as well, which is fantastic. So we've still got all of this space to fill in, lots of it to be honest, including this section here. We're kind of just going to try and work outwards and see how we get on. But the first thing that we kind of want to look at is potentially, do we want this closest side of the road to us, do we want to change that into a key, or do we want to try and boulder it off? It's a question that we have. Key wise, if we were to do such a thing, it would look similar to this, which to be honest actually looks alright. That's not too bad, to be honest, is it? Yeah, no, that's fine, we'll keep that. Next up, we need to sort out this gap here that's quite nice and empty, and kind of determine a plan of how we want to deal with that. I decided to make this rather unique. Is we're going to go again with a stream, so we're going to basically place a stream all along the edge here, basically covering off underneath this these keys that we have. But instead of just placing it flat on the surface like we could do, I might just lower the terrain ever so slightly, just to actually make it look like a ditch or an actual stream. So just ever so slightly, we just want to bring that down, and I'm just trying to think maybe about that height, -2 meters. And if we just dropped that down -2 meters, maybe that's a little bit too much. about that sort of height? I think that sort of height will be reasonable. And then we'll just essentially bring that round alongside this quay wall all the way around, and then kind of fill that in with a ditch and see how that looks. It might look weird and not work, but we will certainly give it a go. So I'm just trying to kind of work my way through. As you can see, we've got a little crossing over here now over the stream. We've got the stream that basically runs all the way alongside with the rocks to kind of separate it up, and then a pathway that runs alongside next to it. I just think it adds a little bit more of a unique feel to it rather than just being plain and boring. We'll fill in this little area with a few more trees, etc. And that should look okay, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then we can start autosave and start figuring out how we're going to fill in the gaps over here as well. I'm just going to key up the water side of these paths just to essentially give a bit of protection from the water, so that any of our walkers don't get drawn into trying to swim in our stream, because we'd hate for there to be an accident, because that's bad press, and that would ruin the reputation of our lovely city, wouldn't it? So yeah, we're just going to corner off a little bit of it here and there. Hopefully it will look a little bit nicer, especially with that just blocking it off a little bit. There we go, perfect. And have a little look. Looking relatively well down here. Just here that needs a bit of loving. Just a bit there as well. Good, good, good. It's coming together. That's looking nice. Right, anyway, focus. We were thinking of what we're going to put here. Let's focus back on that. I'd quite like to try and squeeze this climbing centre in, because it kind of fits the sort of vibe for mountains and trekking and all that sort of stuff, having a climbing centre. It's just slightly too large, and we're going to have to do a little bit of adjusting to try and make it fit, which involves a couple of the bits and pieces attached to it will have to go, but to be honest, it's done relatively well on sitting in there. We just need to try and bring out some sort of very small road connection just to connect it into here, just like this, hopefully, or even we curve that and let it go in there. I want it to be straight like that, and then it's just this little connection here, possibly like this, because then it is connected up at the road, isn't it? I think that looks decent enough, to be honest with you. Not bad. What I might do with this area, either we'll go for the riverbed around the outskirts, or we'll go for some different sort of grass textures. I'm not entirely sure yet, so what I'm just going to do in the meantime is just put a nice little pathway which connects. Come on, we want you to connect nicely. Do it nicely, please. Come on. Okay. We want it to go straight across there, essentially. Nice and straight. And then we want that to connect into here, just like that. Cool. Right, let's figure out the textures, what we're going to put in here, and then that's quite a nice sort of placement there. I think that looks so much better with that texture. It definitely draws back into that theme of being outdoorsy and stuff like that, so I think that looks really nice. A couple of trees just to beautify it a little bit, make it feel a little bit more alive and not man-made, even though it's obviously man-made because it's a building. But we just want to fill in a few of the gaps with the trees, is what I'm trying to say, just to make it look a little bit nicer. Like this. That should look pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that's quite a nice fit, actually. I think that's a pretty decent job there. Good, right, well that's another building down. Excellent, just this entire other space to do. But I think that's definitely coming along quite nicely. I think that's cool. Really decent. I've gone for another building which is technically the Forum of Arts, but I think it just looks quite fitting. I think it looks quite nice here. I don't see any major issues with it. We'll just kind of decorate it once again and just see how it gets on. See if it looks alright where it is, and if it doesn't then we'll scrap it and get rid of it and change it up. But at the moment, to be honest with you, it looks somewhat decent, to be fair. I think we need to do that. Yeah, I think that looks alright. So once we actually sort out the dodgy surfaces that it's created, here and here, we should be able to decorate a little bit more. There we go. I do like the way that comes out to here, but not with. I don't want it to come with that. Oh, you know what? Yeah, just delete the whole thing. Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you delete the whole thing? You know what? It wants us to delete the whole thing, so I think we should just delete the whole thing. There we go. Don't need it anyway. Why would we, when we've got the best textures in the game, which are like riverbed thick and all that stuff? So let's we'll whack that down there. We might as well just cover off this bit. Bring that in there, and voila. Riverbed thick wins again. Fantastic, look at that. Much better. Now just a few decorations and job will be great. We'll just bring one slightly curved path through here, like that, and then a few trees there will be fantastic. So I'm just working on getting some services down. So we've got a small little fire station, because being this sort of area that it is probably quite prone to fire, and I think this fire station really kind of fits with the theme of the area as well, so that's quite nice to have. And we've got this police station again from the same pack, which again looks pretty decent, somewhat fits the theme, and then we've also managed to dump in a nice little hospital clinic just on the edge as well, just off this small kind of service road that we've got. And then to fill in the space, we've got a petrol or gas station, whatever you call it, from wherever you're from, just kind of closing off that section there. Now my thought for the rest of this would be just to build some nice sort of houses in this gap that we've got going on here, so there is a bit of residential, because it's quite a nice place to live, other than the fact that you're next to the highway. As a general area, I would like to live there. All of these things to do around here, all of this beautiful views, beautiful walks, I think yeah, I think we can probably build a few houses around here. Right, so I've placed a variety of homes within here, some smaller ones, some bigger ones. They're all, to be fair, compared to my home, they're all pretty big houses. But I've placed a few down just along here to kind of make it into a nice sort of housing area, kind of quite a luxury sort of place to live, and I think it looks alright, to be honest, to begin with. I don't know if I can fit, maybe, how much space do we have there? Could fit either a house like that or a house across here, unless we want to fit a tour in there. One like that, or just a couple of little ones there. To be honest, we can probably do the same around the back here, just to fill in a little bit of the empty spaces that we've got knocking about here and there. Good, and then maybe one in the corner there, just to keep everything kind of somewhat full up, so we're not wasting too much ground. And then that's, yeah, I think that looks alright. The next thing I want to do here is just add a few pathway connections, of course, like we always do. And then we'll decorate it a little bit with some trees and stuff like that, and hopefully it will start to come together rather nicely, fingers crossed. Right, we've added a few pathways, which already makes that look a lot nicer and a lot more filled in. Now all we need to do is just put a few trees within the houses, and then that should bring this area to a nice sort of close. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And there we have it. Wow, look at this. I think adding the streams and the rocks amongst these houses, I think it's added an absolutely fantastic effect. As we go through the cinematic, I'll point out a couple of things in case you have just skipped to this part of the video. But one of the key things is being by the key at the top of the map and the parking. We've got that nice stream, the boulders, and the pathway that runs alongside it. A little post office between our luxury houses that we've got down here in this section. Then a couple services, petrol station, some stuff to just service our people that are living down in this section, and then a couple of main kind of key activity sort of areas, including the shard sort of arena, which we've detailed a little bit with a few extra services and decals, climbing centre opposite that, and then out the back we've created a lovely looking stream kind of that's just within the trees and the forest sort of area. I think it looks really nice. Then you've got that small train station just on the back of it, which is blended in pretty nicely. I'm just going to put it out there, I actually think this is probably my favourite area so far. I really like the look of this kind of section that we've created. It took a lot of time to get it right, to get it quite right, but I think this is probably our best sort of area so far. Everybody will have their different opinions, but I think with the streams, the rocks, the quays, the waterfall of course, it just looks fantastic. Look at that. Unbelievable stuff, Jeff. Unbelievable. Wow. I just can't really get enough of the views that we have here. It's just fantastic. Even if we just zoom into the little things, just watching it all go along by, the little parks that we've got going on here as well, and then obviously the waterfall, the castle ruins just over there. It's just beautiful. It's really nice to look at. I'm really happy with that. I didn't really have a vision for this area to begin with at the start of this video, but we've kind of just gone with the flow and it's worked out pretty tremendously, and I think that looks fantastic. Really happy with the way that that's turned out. Let me know your thoughts. I look forward to your feedback. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more. Let me know any tips and advice as well if you've got any for any future videos. That'd be grand. But yeah, this is fantastic. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Good night.